Hello and welcome to my channel on human design. Well, the viewers' questions has gotten off to quite a good start. I have a lot of questions that you've sent in. Thank you so much. And let's see if this is a goer or not. It certainly does have that element of randomness, and I never know what you're going to ask, which is exciting for me too. Okay, so let us begin. We're going to start with Jim's question first of all. And the question is, I have channel 6447, unconscious, and I think it has something to do with when emotionally triggered, I then seem to be challenged to communicate intellectually, leaving me trying not to be confused. I'm of the impression that art is the best remedy for this. I do dabble and have done a couple of shows, but might you have some thoughts on this? Well, that's an excellent question, Jimma, and an excellent remedy that you've come up with. I think it's a very good remedy. I think art is one of the ways that can really help this channel when it gets confused, and as you say, when it gets emotionally triggered. It isn't tied directly to the emotional system, but it is part of the abstract system that is tied to the emotions. So in that sense, this thinking, this pressure to think about what happened in the past, what it meant, how could they say such a thing to me? What did they mean by it? All this kind of thing. It can be very confusing. It really can. If you're thinking about it, this is why we say you're not here to make decisions from your mind, because the mind has no direct connection to a motor to be able to do something about it. A great channel for helping other people make sense of their confusion. But for ourselves, when you're emotionally triggered, yeah, what do you do about it? So yes, I think art is a really good way of dealing with inner confusion when you are emotionally triggered and you don't know how to come back from that. You don't know what to say in the moment. Because after all, this is a channel that really processes, and it needs to process, it needs to feel through and replay what happened and try to get to some resolution about what the hell it was all about. Why am I triggered? And why did they say that? All these questions that come from a head and an ajna connected, this pressure to think. But it's an experiential circuitry. So to actually take that confusion and put it into something creative, wonderful, wonderful. And when I say creative, it can involve all the darkness of the emotions as well as the light of the emotions and the tragedy of it and the comedy of it, and to bring that out, to unwrap it through allowing it to come through you. I think it's a really excellent way to deal with it. So well done. I completely agree. And thank you for the question. And in your case, because it's unconscious, you don't get any conscious access to it as the thoughts are going on. Art is again very good. I mean, you'll be painting whatever it is, whatever abstract or animated image it may be. But at the same time, you're going to be using different colors probably, or certainly different edges of the paintbrush, you know, and when there's something, if you're starting to put out a lot of black, you know, and spread it across there, you know, you're also seeing that reflecting back on the colors you're using, that is going to take you further into the experiences of confusion and hurt that you're going through, and other colors, of course. So yeah, I think it's really good. I think that's an excellent therapy for that particular channel. The next question is from Stephanie, and her question is, my question is about the star sign that sometimes appears next to the gates in different planets. What does that mean? I thought it might mean that a gate is simultaneously in exaltation and detriment, but is this really so? And if so, how does that work in one's design? Another great question. Thank you, Stephanie. So this is really the star, you're right, it is to do with the exaltations and the detriments. So most lines, not every line, but most lines can have a exaltation or a detriment, an aspect, two sides of the same characteristic, one that is more seen more positive, one that is seen more negative. Not that they are necessarily positive or negative, but that's a long story, and I think I might have said it in a previous video, but the point is that the star is there to say that you are here to go through both sides, the exaltation and the detriment, that you will experience that in your life. It's part of what it is to be you. It's not that they appear at the same time, because it depends on what's going on. You know, sometimes it's going to be the detriment, sometimes it's going to be the exaltation, but you'll recognize both of them in you as you reflect back on your experience to do with whatever that particular gate is. So yeah, they are fixed, and you are fixed in really taking a good look at that. I would also say that because you do have it exalted, the detriment is really there for you to come to grips with whatever that aspect is in detriment. And because you've already got it in exaltation, it might make it easier for you to flip from the detrimental side into the exaltation side, if you can be aware of it, if you watch it for long enough, if you take it on as part of what it is in you and really focus in on it and watch it. You will see there may well be more of a shift towards the exaltation. That's what the detriments are there for. They're there for us to take notice of them, because that's one of these lessons we have to learn in this life. And if you've got it in the star, you know, it's going to be also tied to the particular planet. So the planetary aspect in detriment and the planetary aspect in the exaltation will be different. And that's about thinking about the planetary influence and what that means within the context of that gate and line. I hope that was clear. It did sound a bit dense as I was saying it, full of stuff, but hopefully that makes it clearer. Thank you for your question. And the next question is from Sue. If the conscious mind in black gets in the way of the unconscious flow, red, ought we not read the black as the challenge to interpret without interjecting, and integrating the red as a kind of goal? That's a great question. And I can see how one might think that if we see the red as the goal, that we're going to be more in touch with our essential nature. But the truth is, we are both. We are a personality crystal attached to a form within a particular design. So we are both. That is the totality of what we are. Now, we can't really see the red as a goal without getting involved. So it's really not the way to do it, because that would be a conceptual interference. It'd be the mind coming in to say, you know, I want to be more like that. And at the same time, the channels that you have in red are going to be very often very different to the ones in black. So you're not just here to play out one side of your nature, you're here to be the whole thing. And in that sense, it wouldn't work. So for example, I have the 57, 20, and 34 in red. So a manifesting generator unconsciously being busy and penetrating to the now, really being in the now with his splenic sensations. This is very different to the side of me that is conscious. So for example, the 2946, here to go on a journey of discovery through experience myself, and to share that with others when there are experiences that they respond to, that I'm going into, and if it's appropriate to share them, then we can do it together. We can share the experience together. Very different life forces, and I'm here to live both of them. The journey of discovery, I'm here to live in a conscious way, to identify as that, to recognize that in myself. But I am not here to recognize the busyness in me. For example, I'll just use the charisma for now. I'm not here to recognize that as I'm doing it. Other people will see me being busy, but I just do what I do. So in terms of how we approach this, it is really a result of going through your own process in human design, surrendering to the pattern that you are, and getting the mind out of the way, not making decisions out of the mind. And in that sense, you can get to surrender to being you as you live your life. And this is what reduces the resistance in life, because you're simply being you. It is surrender to the process. It is not interfering with it. So I surrender to my busyness, for example. I'm busy a lot of the time and I enjoy being busy, but what I'm being busy about, I don't know what it's going to be until I'm in it. I mean, it can be very different from one thing to another. So I also get to laugh at it. I also get to laugh at it with my journey of discovery, consciously of being in the experience. I mean, it's like, what are you doing now? You know, this is the busy side. I'm watching it. I'm watching it through what I have conscious. I'm watching myself go through different experiences, growing in them, expanding in them, but I'm not in control of what it is exactly I'm going to be busy about, how I'm going to be busy in that action. I have no idea. I mean, sometimes I'm very fast in my busyness. Sometimes I'm more ponderous in it. Sometimes I'm more focused. You know, I don't know what it's going to be and I don't get involved. So what I'd say really is that you can just kind of let go of a pathway to handle the red in black in you. Simply make decisions out of your own inner authority, and it comes about. It comes about in a greater way year after year after year. And then at some point down the road, you get to see that about this particular thing or that particular thing. I mean, really, human design is here really just to take us back to just living our life as opposed to a conditioned life, our life. You know, before human design, I was busy doing lots of things, but they weren't all in tune with who I was. I would push against the resistance to get something done. Now, if I don't respond, I ain't going to do those things. That's one of the reasons the resistance is much less in me. Because if it's a, then I just don't get involved with it. So my life is easier. It's that simple thing. Strategy and authority, strategy and authority. So thank you for your question. I hope that helps. There's another question from Sunny Girl that ties to Sue's question. So it's great I can deal with both questions in the same answer. And her question is our design more favorable than the personality? Or are we to harmonize the two? So again, it's not that you're here to do any of that. You are already the totality of both the red and black, both the personality and the design. You are already that. Where the disharmony is when the mind is trying to control the life. So it's not that you have to try to do any of it. You don't have to try and harmonize it. Simply make correct decisions and the harmony comes into your life. Things become more smoother because you're not getting in the way. So you don't have to try to harmonize them. It is already done as a natural byproduct of living your life correctly according to your strategy and authority. You don't have to think it through. It's just something that happens over the years as you stay with your experiment. And the final question is from the Savior 222. And that question is there any more consistency in gates that are in defined centers, but not part of a channel? If the center is defined, then the gate is consistently there, whether it's part of a channel or not. So, for example, if I again take the 2946 in me, the journey of discovery, this I have conscious, but I also have a gate 42 that is not tied in a channel to the 53. It's just there as part of my sacral energy. So what does that mean? That means I'm going to go on journeys of discovery, but I'm going to want to finish things along the way. My response is to finish things as I go. And so that's what's satisfying for me. So no matter what my journey may be, you'll find me finishing things when I respond to finish them. You'll find me going into experiences when I respond to commit to them. So both commitment and endings are there. The 29 of commitments, the 46 of endings. They are part of my nature. They will always be part of my nature, and they are consistently there. It's not that a gate is more consistent than a channel. They're both consistent if they're colored in, whether it be red or black. If it's in a fixed center. If it's in an open center, then there won't be the consistency. So the differentiation there is whether the center is colored in or not, is defined or not. And that's what makes the consistency either there all the time or not. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed me going through a few questions. There are more, which is very good. So I've got questions for next week and the week after. And please, if you'd like to send me some more questions, I continue to open the invitation to you. I would be very grateful. And I'm excited to see what you're going to bring. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back again next week with something completely different. Bye-bye for now.